Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Break here at SWBC Studios. I was about to say something else. I'm not used to doing the opening. Derek is clearly not here. I am joined by Brian Broaddus and Nick Eatman.
What's up?
They always come back, don't they?
Yeah, it's like gum on your shoe. Can't get rid of them.
No.
I would get rid of the gum on the shoe. You know me, I'd get rid of that. I'd change the shoe.
Change that shoe.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yep.
You guys know Derek and Patrick are not here today, so we're going to do the whole show as we get ready for tomorrow's final preseason game, which the Cowboys will be going up against the Raiders at AT&T Stadium. So I wanted to start off the show with the news that have been happening since our last show. We learned about Sam Williams' arrest, and we haven't discussed this on the show just yet. He was arrested last weekend for possession of a controlled substance and unlawful carrying of a weapon. The team since then has come out and spoke about it. Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, and basically saying that, yes, they've addressed the issue. They don't expect any changes. He's expected to play this weekend, but wanted to get your thoughts on your opinion of him as a player, what he's doing outside of the field, how that is affecting him on the field and around the locker room, and just whatever thoughts you have.
Yeah, there were some questions about Sam Williams before he was drafted to Mississippi. There were teams that were going in there and digging in on, and much like what you do, the normal, trying to get the background, talking to coaches, talking to equipment men, trainers, whoever you have to do. And there's some people that did have questions. Were they things that were terminal? Some teams felt like that maybe it wouldn't be worth the trouble. The Cowboys had done their due diligence on the player, so they had an idea of potentially what they're getting into. Unfortunately for Sam, he's early in his career, he's found a way to put himself in some bad situations, usually when it's him in a car, whether it's him dealing with speeding or what we've just came up with here. But it just kind of shows you, though, that you can control things to a point when you have your players at the facility. Your biggest worry as a front office member is when these players leave the building and go do other things. And, you could do all you can to say, okay, we feel like we have a handle on what Sam is as a person and that he'll be able to take care of things. But Sam's proven, at least the last couple of years, there's been some difficulty on the way. But we also remember the first 3 years of Ezekiel Elliott. And a lot of us thought, man, he's not going to make it to the second contract. So here we go. But and things then turned around. So hopefully those things will work in Sam Williams' favor, that maybe he won't put himself in these situations that he has been the last couple of times out.
Yeah, you just don't want it to be always. You don't want to be the guy that always has something,
Yeah.
And minor, major, whatever it is. And I don't think we're hitting the major points yet. But when you get a bunch of minor things, then it always becomes something. And kind of like you said, that when they leave the facility, what happens?
What
then?
happens?
And I think that he's a fun player to watch. I said this on 105.3 this morning when we were talking to the guys. I thought McCarthy's quote about he needs to slow down. He's not just talking about driving the car.
No.
He's talking about just living his life.
Living life.
And slowing down, which sounds very easy for any player to do. Just slow down. Your job is to speed up. Your job is to wreak havoc every single time that the ball is snapped. And I do think it's a tough balance for young guys that they're living their life a certain way. They play a football and they got to slow down. I wonder how NASCAR drivers drive around the street. Really, is what I wonder. You know what I mean? Like that's their job to do that. But yet when real life hits, you gotta calm down. That's just the balance that I think all young players have to figure out.
It also shows you what they think of Sam, though, as a player. Usually if you start to add things up and you're getting in trouble a lot, they find a way to move on from you. And that's I hate to admit that, but that's the truth. I mean, the players are treated. You could go back to the history of Jimmy Johnson here, or any coach. Hey, you treat your star players differently than you do maybe some of the guys in the bottom of the roster. That's just the way it is. So, but to Nick's point, Mike's right about the, slow down in life. I mean, you don't have to live it the way you're living it. And hopefully he'll learn. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough balance. So, you're not in Oxford, Mississippi anymore. You can't get out of the things that you probably once got out of. And now, you're that spotlight is clearly on you, and you make national news when you pull stunts like this.
The good thing is, he's a very likable guy.
Very.
You really like the guy.
Love interviewing him. Yeah.
He doesn't, when you talk to him, he doesn't mean any harm or anything bad. And the Cowboys have shown their support. I think Mike McCarthy mentioned, or I can't remember if it was him or Jerry Jones, the word maturity. I can say it. Maturity.
Yep.
Maturity. He needs to mature. And that you presented the Ezekiel example, which is a great example, but I think he's gonna find the right way to do things and learn from it, and hopefully keep improving, because everything we've seen on the field so far, we love. Obviously, slowing down in certain areas where he's making those mistakes, that needs to happen on the field as well.
I was with you guys when Ezekiel was here, and the early part, and I remember just having meetings, like we were always on alert. There was always something that Nick was always saying, hey, well, somebody bring their iPad, we're going to lunch. There might be something happening that we need to work on here. And, there was always something that we were dealing with. And then that part went away. And good for Zeke, and hopefully it will for Sam.
But one of the things that helped it go away for Zeke was getting suspended 6 games.
Yeah.
And so, like you said about Sam Williams, this isn't Mississippi anymore, where maybe things were, and this is not just one school, this happens at a lot of places where star players, whatever happens, I'm not saying it gets covered up, but it gets taken care of. It gets taken care of. They're coddled.
Yeah.
And so far with Sam Williams, a couple things happen, and maybe it doesn't affect him on the field, but it's going to have to affect you on the field, I think, for them to maybe wake up. Hopefully it doesn't, but that could be a situation.
What we've learned working for the Dallas Cowboys is that you do not want to put your fate in the hands of those folks in New York City, with the NFL office. You don't want to do that, because ultimately it's this many game suspension. What? What? No. No. No, this guy was far worse. That guy was far worse. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So you just don't want them to step in on discipline, like Nick says, but it'll get your attention when they do, financially, and maybe, like I say, the number of games you might miss.
All right, well, let's switch gears a little bit. Yesterday, Dak got the chance to talk to the media, and I wanted you guys to comment on something that he said. He was talking about how great he feels about where they are this year, and talking about how much different it is than last year at this point as far as the installation and everything that they're doing. Do you guys believe that? I'm not saying but because sometimes we hear from players, oh, I feel great, obviously when speaking mainly about injuries and things like that. But in general, you hear those comments from guys like them. But as far as him talking about the installation, all the changes that have occurred with Mike McCarthy now taking over for the play calling and all the new weapons that they currently have on offense. Do you guys feel that you have seen that during the course of training camp?
I think so. I mean, I remember that a few years ago we used to always say Dak-friendly offense. I think this is a Dak-friendly offense. I think that, most quarterbacks love to check it down. I mean, it's an easier throw, but they're checking it down to receivers that are open, that are schemed open, that are crossing over the middle. It's not just throwing it to Schultz for 8 yards and seeing when he can get a first down. It's Cooks on the move. It's Gallup on the move. It's running backs out of the backfield. I think it's a good offense for Dak that also is going to be able to show how much speed that they have. So, yeah, I could see where he's a little bit more comfortable with it because it's an offense that he understands, but also I think that they have some big play capabilities with these guys.
Yeah, the only way we get to really see how this offense is functioning is through practice because we haven't seen it. Well, as far as Dak and the ones go, the guys that are going to run they're going to be the primary starters, and it's gone up against one of the better defenses we feel in the league. And, there hasn't been those times. I think early in camp, there were some protection issues that they were dealing with. And then things have kind of worked their way clean in some of those areas. Maybe some of the questions they had, and now you get Zach Martin back, you get more of Terrence Steele practicing. Now you get Tyler Smith feeling more comfortable at left guard, Tyron Smith, all these things, that kind of, but Nick's right. The routes, the combinations, the way they're scheming, the way they're getting guys open. The route we saw the other day down the goal line, the swing that went to Rico Dowdle off the pick, those are kind of little hints that you could say, okay, and you could see why. But if things were going bad, you would see it in practice. You would see balls being overthrown, receivers stopping and balls now being overthrown, or balls not going to where they needed to be, or guys open and they're not finding. I don't think with a new offense, new scheme, you worry about the installation of like everybody being on the same page. I know in the Jacksonville game, there was a couple of times with, when they were dealing with Jalen Brooks, balls, but, it was second team, ball going over his head, route was it receiver, quarter. Those are the things that are the keys to tell you if things are smooth or not. And I think with the ones, you're kind of watching practice and there's not those errors that you would.
They seem like they're more on the same page.
That's it. That's it. And I think that I've really been impressed just watching practice and watching Brian Schottenheimer, the way he's kind of involved. Mike is back with the walkie-talkie kind of surveying, but you got coaches, and they've got a lot of new coaches, new line coach, new quarterback coach, new OC. They've got a lot of coaches, and that's the one thing you would worry about, that there's so much newness to this that it wouldn't look like it's together, their cohesiveness that you would want in the offense.
Yeah, they throw the ball in the red zone very well. Like that's one thing, and it's hard to tell sometimes in practice because maybe they hold on to it for 3 or 4 seconds when in reality you're not.
You
gonna
can't do that.
Yeah. But I still like the way you've seen the 2-point plays, the red zone, the goal line. They throw the ball well in there. I think that they've completed a lot of passes. I just like what you're seeing there because if you can do that, then it should open up a little bit more running game to also run inside the red zone. So you got to be able to score in there. Don't leave it up to your field goal.
This team, if you believe in analytics, plays at a very fast pace. They're the fastest playing team in the league when it comes to getting up, running plays, and in the number that they do. So if they continue to do that, if you see that, and you see it in practice, they try to play at a little bit quicker pace. And so to me, if you were struggling, you wouldn't be able to. You would bog down. You would say, run that again. Run that, Coach, can I see that again? That you don't always hear that in practice. And that's something that kind of leads you to believe that, McCarthy might be one of these guys that believes, well, if there's a bust, we'll coach it in the meeting room. We're not going to stop practice to coach something up. And I don't hear that quite a bit.
Very important of Jalen Tolbert, Kavontae Turpin, those 4 or 5 receivers, maybe even 6, because when you do play at that pace, you're throwing the ball around, you throw it deep, it's incomplete or whatever you're moving, you need to get those other receivers in there a lot.
Yeah, that happened the other day, and the touchdown that who was I thinking about? They got the touchdown. Tolbert got the touchdown right before the half against Jacksonville. He got the push off on the outside, had to come back, that was a series where they were playing hurry up 2-minute ball. And, and those receivers were having to get downfield, having to run routes, a lot of long plays. Oh, penalty, come back, run it again, that kind of thing. And they were able to finish the drive like Nick talked about, with the touchdown to Tolbert. So those receivers are having to do a lot of this, like run, come back, run, come back, run, come back, that kind of thing. And I think that when you get tired, it's easy to kind of fall apart. And we haven't really seen that from this crew.
Well, let's go ahead and take our first break. We will be hopefully answering some fan questions during the last segment of the break. You guys can text us at 817-290-3298. 817-290-3298.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Hey, honey, can we talk?
Of course. What's up?
Well, I just thought you should know I've been curious about the new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
Have you felt this way a long time?
No, I just think I'd really like the taste of Dr. Pepper, swirled with layers of flavor.
If you feel that way, I think you should try it, babe.
It's amazing. I mean, you're amazing too.
New Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream. The new flavor you deserve.
Want to use the Cowboys locker room's favorite products? Check out the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Back to the break.
Watch 2 of Texas' best high school football teams face off in the 3rd annual Jerry Jones Classic presented by Whataburger. The Rockwall Yellow Jackets will take on the Cedar Hill Longhorns on Saturday, August 26th at 1 p.m. under the lights at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Get your tickets now at SeatGeek.com. You won't want to miss this.
Welcome back. This is the second segment of the break presented by blockchain.com.
You got it right. I'm
it?
waiting for a dinger. I didn't hear a dinger.
He's busy.
He's busy.
It's all right. It's all
There
right.
he goes. We got some...
There you go.
Sorry, I was on the wrong screen.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so I wanted to hit another point that was talked about yesterday in the press conference. It was the whole safety linebacker hybrid role that is being talked about on defense. A guy that specifically was mentioned was Jaron Kearse, and his ability, his versatility of being able to play different positions on the field. So wanted to see kind of your vision, how you think this is going to translate once the season gets started, or what this defense might look like for the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, Jaron Kearse is the guy that is very similar to Overshown. I think they drafted him with the idea of, who knows how long Kearse will be. He's under a 1-year deal of his contract, but that kind of hybrid player is what they're looking for. And when they're all healthy and Donovan Wilson comes back, Malik Hooker, and then you have Kearse, I think they're going to be in good shape there. But Overshown was just another tool in the toolbox that they were excited to have for this year. I think Marquise Bell maybe be able to do some stuff, maybe Jabril Cox, but I don't think it's going to be at the same level, though.
Yeah, the thing that I feel terrible for the coaching staff on this one, because they had an idea of what they needed to do with Overshown. I think that when they looked at him at Texas and the evaluation, the scouts and Sam Garza and Chris Hall and these guys were talking about the player, I think Dan Quinn and the coaches had an idea. And then all of a sudden they said, let's see if we can do this. They throw him in the deep end of the pool at the OTAs and mini camps. He's calling the defenses. All of a sudden he's green dot on the helmet. They're thinking, okay, let's keep loading the wagon on this kid and see if he just short circuits. And he never did. Then all of a sudden you're watching him play. And the first 6 plays of the game, he's made 3 tackles. Now you're sitting there going, we've got something here. We figured this out. And that's what's unfortunate. I think there were some packages that they were going to do. We've seen them line up Leighton Vander Esch as an edge and rush him with Micah. How do you get around that? Taking him out of a key position, Vander Esch, and putting him up on the line. Well, wait a minute. You got to have Clark. You got to have Overshown. You got to have... I hope they didn't lose some packages along the way because they lost Overshown. And it might be like, we don't have anybody else. Now, the thoughts about Marquise Bell, similar type of body style. If you follow the games the last couple of weeks, he's always on the top of the list of the tackle sheet. Mm-hmm. Guy gets double-digit tackles playing in the game. So maybe you're thinking like, well, let's put this kid in there and let's see if he can play that role. So, Curse is going to be the primary what they call a nickel dime linebacker. He's down, but you also could take Bell and put him down there too if you had to. Maybe you develop him in that role. It's probably not going to be as cute and pretty as what Overshown because of all the things he could do, but maybe you can make it still might allow you the flexibility to move other guys where you might want to. And that Dan Quinn, that when you talk about putting Leighton Vander Esch on the edge, that is a defense that you show one time in a game. It's a third down late in the game, and it's like, we got to get off the field here. Throw that one at them. They haven't seen Vander Esch as a rush as an edge all game, and boom, and then you get a stop, you get off the field. There's your one time that it actually worked. So that's the great thing about these defensive coaches. They are very creative with their personnel. Whoever you give them, they will find ways to plug them in certain spots.
And with Micah on the field, the other guys have to be that way because he's moving. And if he moves, then that means you have to move. That means Dorrance has to flip sides, or like you said, Vander Esch has to rush. Another thing about the Marquise Bell and whoever the safety linebacker is that you got to remember that it's not just about having the strength to also play linebacker. It's really more the awareness to understand where things are going to be. And that's one thing I've liked out of Marquise Bell. He's made some plays behind the line of scrimmage where he just kind of snuffed it out. And that's what I think Overshown is good at. And that's something that I think Bell can also be good at.
It helps, though, if you can get those linemen in front to hold blocks, too. And that's the deals with Hankins and what we've seen with Bohanna. I think, by the way, that's an interesting battle to keep an eye on what's going on. How many defensive tackles, these one techniques they might keep. This is an important game for Gallimore, Bohanna, guys like that going forward. But the guys like Bell and these linebackers, their ability to get to the ball, a lot will have to do with what's going on at these defensive tackle spots.
Well, let's go ahead and transition to my next question, which is exactly that. This is the last game that they're playing in the preseason. We know that roster cuts are happening on Tuesday. Yeah. So give me a name where this is a make or break. This is their last chance where it could really go either way. Either they make it or they just get cut.
I'm going to throw a name in here from the text line. TJ from Baltimore. He says, who needs to have a bounce back week on Saturday's game? So kind of along those lines of somebody that needs to play well.
I think I mentioned those defensive tackles because I don't know if they're going to be able to keep all of them with the way the roster, and I don't know if but there's a competition right now. I mean, Hankins and Mozzie are the guys, right? Mm-hmm. Can Bohanna or Neville Gallimore make them keep just a true one technique there? Can I'm like another one. And that's where I think that Bohanna has played. And this is where I kind of look at with Mozzie. It's taken Bohanna a couple of years to kind of figure things out. I think Mozzie's in that group right now where he's kind of like caught between playing against Northwestern in a Big Ten game and playing against the Vegas Raiders this weekend, technique-wise. I think he's somewhere in between there, trying to kind of figure all that out. And I think it's slowing him up a little bit.
Can we get to Ohio State?
Yeah, we need to get to the Ohio State game. But I think Quentin Bohanna, and I'll give you an offensive guy too. And I really think Simi Fehoko is in that position too, where he has got to try and find a way to put himself into that wide receiver conversation. It might already be too late. I mean, Brooks. Brooks has kind of had a little bit of some really good in practice, not so good in a game, kind of found his way back. Do you keep 5 or 6 wide receivers? Who's the 6th wide receiver here? Right. So I think those are the two spots that I'm looking at right now and thinking, if you just sit off the top of your head, who are guys that need to show up?
Will Greer is going to he played well at times. He's played well in the first 2 games. He's had some other moments where not so great, and I just wonder if they're going to have, like, you have to go short somewhere, right? And tight end, I don't believe they will. I think they're going to have 4 tight ends with McEwen. So do they go 6 receivers? I mean, do you have 4 running backs? I mean, some point you have to go short here, and I don't know if quarterback's going to be the spot or not. I understand the new rule, but the new rule doesn't help you if you don't have 3 on the roster.
Right.
So are you going to put 3 on the roster? Are you going to just try to go practice squad and elevate one, which you can only do that 3 times, and then you got to get another quarterback in here. So I don't know what they're going to do with Will Greer.
I think that Will Greer has had, as you mentioned, moments where you're like, all right, that's, there you go. And then unfortunately, there's been the time where, the interception just came at a terrible time the other day. Yeah. It just did. It just, you're driving, you're trying to go, get back in the game the way you need to, and, give your team a little momentum. And, like I say, hey, Deuce Vaughn is trying his best to block. Okay, he takes on the rusher. He kind of knocks him to the side. He gets knocked to the side. Now Greer's got to run, and he's throwing the ball back to the inside. And you're like, no, don't do that. And then, there's the play where they had a chance to get the 3rd down, and he doesn't run, and he tries to throw the ball just, and you're like going, and you're going, well, this is a veteran guy. I know he hasn't played a lot of NFL games, but no, this isn't the guy from Western Carolina that you just got, that hasn't played a lot of games. This guy has played a lot of games collegiately, and, he's been on NFL rosters. He's practiced. He knows better than that. And that's where you struggle is, has he shown you enough to say, yeah, we're going to keep a 3rd quarterback and not have an extra guy in the secondary or an extra linebacker or one of these extra guys. I don't know. I can't say that with any certainty that I would go that route right now.
And at this point, I mean, let's say you cut him and then you sign some other quarterback, young guy coming in here, you're starting over from 0. I mean, that's how it's always worked. Right. But again, it doesn't necessarily fully, you have surprises at times, but let's say something crazy was to happen where we've seen it, your first guy, second guy go down, and then you're in need of your 3rd quarterback.
If that's the point, then we start the draft show on November 1st.
Get screwed completely.
Yeah, exactly. Another year of you just being really unhappy. Yes.
But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, there you go.
That's definitely not going to happen. So who were your 2 guys, aside from the quarterback question?
That need to play well. Anybody on the offensive line that's going to get in the game. And I don't know if it's just to make the team. It's also going to be making decisions on who do they make active. Right. I mean, what happens with Ball and Farniok and Hoffman, Awesome Richards. There's a lot of questions to answer, and I really feel like there's 4 to 5 players that are on other teams right now that are going to be on this team.
Yeah, there's maybe
not 4, but 2 or 3.
I think that the first cut there's going to be some of that roster manipulation, where a guy like maybe Nashawn Wright is on the active roster for one day, and then the next day he's cut or put on IR kind of a thing. I just think this team is not going to look like by like maybe Thursday, Friday, it's probably going to look like a completely different team than what they reduced the roster to on Tuesday. So yeah, there's always the possibility of claims. I think I made the point that I felt like that Will and these guys might be working on a trade. You know, if you were to trade, I mean, I know I asked the question to my guys at 105.3, do you go out and try and trade for an offensive tackle, or you try and trade for a guard center combination guy? And, you know, I've had people say, no, you trade for the tackle, and others have said, no, you go for the center guard guy. Because, again, it's the, you know, what's your trust factor with all these guys. With
a lot of them.
Yeah,
I mean, with all these guys. I mean,
I could just throw in anything.
Well, and Biotish and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Biotish's health, you know, and stuff. So where's your, you know, what's the combination? And it always goes.
Zach Martin and Tyler Smith. I think they're pretty solid.
Yeah, but it always goes back to, and you don't even want to talk about it, was the whole thing with Tyron Smith. You don't even want to, you know, but you're going to wake up in week 5 and it's going to be,
You know,
something happened. Here we go. You know, and now you're shuffling around.
Can I ask this text line question? Ryan Longview, he says, can Awesome Richards hold up at swing tackle? Because what you just said, with Tyron's situation, I would have probably gone with a little bit more depth at that position. Like a guy that probably should be starting, but, you know, we're having him as a backup right now. And they really haven't done that. It looks like it's going to be Richards. Well, Let's Go has been banged up.
Yeah.
I need a little bit
But
more
is at
depth
any
there.
point, is the consideration of moving Tyler Smith back out of the question? Like if something was to happen, would they just slide him?
Then that's where you need to know who your guard. Do
I
you
need
feel,
a veteran guard then.
You feel better about your guard situation. I would say this. I would keep. This is gonna sound crazy. I'd keep Tyler Smith and go with Awesome Richards. I just feel like that Awesome Richards has shown me that he is better than Let's Go and anybody else that's played, you know, outside there. I mean, Taylor Prelo and, you know, I mean, those guys to me are like practice squad guys. Now, how you feel about TJ Bass?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. That's kind of the wild card here. That if you feel good enough about TJ Bass filling at guard, then maybe that you move. So the determination is, who do you feel better about? Awesome Richards or TJ Bass?
Right.
That's going to make your decision.
On Tyler Smith.
On Tyler Smith. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And give credit to Tyler Smith for being good enough to that is the question.
Yeah.
It's the backup question. It's not which one is Tyler Smith better at. He can do either one.
Right.
That I think should not be overlooked. That this guy is so good that you're not worried about how he does. You're worried about who would be replacing him the best. That's pretty valuable for a second year guy.
All right, let's take our final break. When we come back, we're going to keep answering some of y'all's questions through the text line. I'll give it to you guys one more time, 817-290-3298.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Want to use the Cowboys locker room's favorite products? Check out the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
SeatGeek has your back no matter what kind of fan you are. So whether you're a diehard fan or a don't really care fan, a we got 'em next time fan or we'll never win again fan, a here for the tailgate fan or a first one through the gates fan, SeatGeek not only makes buying and selling tickets easier than ever before, they made just about everything else easier too. So whether you're a Here Every Week fan or haven't been here in years fan, SeatGeek has you covered. Download the SeatGeek app today. SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats.
Hey, honey, can we talk?
Of course. What's up?
Well, I just thought you should know I've been curious about the new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
Have you felt this way a long time?
No, I just think I'd really like the taste of Dr. Pepper, swirled with layers of flavor.
If you feel that way, I think you should try it, babe.
It's amazing. I mean, you're amazing too.
New Dr. Pepper Strawberries and Cream. The new flavor you deserve.
Back to the break.
Welcome back to the third segment of the break. I wanted to, before we get into all the texts that are coming in, I wanted to ask you guys about the kicker. And for this last game, again, we thought several weeks ago that they might bring another kicker for competition after they cut, remember?
Vizcaino,
yeah.
Vizcaino, yes. Well, with him now, is there something that you guys want to see more of in this last game?
Yeah, field goals. I mean, quit going for it on 4th and 8.
Yeah.
To try to do what? To tie the game? With what? The only starter that's on the field is the kicker. He's the only one. I mean, yeah, you want to evaluate it, and I get it. Mike McCarthy's calling plays that he wants to do that, and they get all competitive and all that. But the only guy that is you expect to be a starter in the fourth quarter of these games is your kicker. So why not try a 42-yard field goal or at some point? I mean, we're always worrying about, let's see what this guy does. Let's see what the kicker does, because that's the guy that's going to be out there for the Giants right now. That's the only one that you're expecting to be out there.
The only veteran I've heard any positive things about is Mason Crosby. That's it. Other than that, it's been – so you might as well ride with this guy and see what you got. But Nick's right. You should have been kicking field goals the other day. Just trying to figure it out. Like, let him – he had a miss. He had a miss of an extra point.
Badly.
Yeah, so you're kind of like going, oh, okay. So give him some other confidence and let everybody – let the team feel good about him.
Right.
Let the team the team can feel good about him at practice. It's different when they're trying to block Seattle's 4-team rush, and guys are trying to make the team and all that. So
shoot down this idea that I've been thinking of. What about sign a veteran?
Yeah.
Robbie Gould, Crosby, whatever. If he can't kick off,
right.
Fine.
That's Gould. Gould does not want to kick off.
Okay. Give me a guy on the practice squad. Aubrey could start it out. There'll be other guys that you could sign on your practice squad. Elevate them on game day.
Yeah. I had this and you get 3 elevations, right?
And then you got to find another kickoff.
Then you got to find another kickoff guy. Yeah.
But they're out there, right?
See, this is where it gets a little dicey. It gets a little dicey because you start to play cold weather games and you start to play outdoors. And now, do you want a kickoff guy that can't get it out of the end zone? But you're not wrong. I mean, I had somebody tweet at me and said the same thing. They just okay. Well, then bring in Robbie Gould and let him knock field goals home all day from 38, 42, and 43 yards, and then get a practice squad kicker and just do it for 3 games at a time. But you get to a point in time where you're kind of like, okay, do we get the right guy here at the end? I mean, you're going to be playing in a playoff game with a guy that can't kick off as well, and that's going to affect the way you play. That would be the only way, the only thing that would kind of deter me from thinking about doing that.
I personally,
it's not a bad idea.
I'm not as worried of the kickoffs though. I'm really not, because for every big kickoff return that you give up, I mean, if you kick it off through the end zone, they start at the 25.
Yeah.
What are the chances? There's a better chance you're going to start inside the 25. The way they call holding, blocking the backs and stuff like that, you have a chance to have a little bit more advantage than you would giving up a 50.
Well, even if you get it near the goal line, don't they have the option now
that
they can fair catch the thing and get the ball to 25?
I'd pop it up and let them fair catch. It's going to be the same anyways.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Crosby and Gould, what they both have in common is they both have sent you home in the playoffs with their field goal kicking.
No, it's no
the last
question.
few years.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, the more that I dug in on Robbie Gould, it was he really is kind of a specialist now. He doesn't want to kick field goals over 50 yards. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to kick off. He doesn't, and that puts you on some fringe offense right there.
Like, you barely do. I mean, you don't have that many tasks.
But watch, somebody will sign that guy. Somebody will sign that guy just because he is in the playoffs. He's money.
He was demoralizing to the team.
Oh, yeah.
The Cowboys could not kick anything, and he couldn't miss.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take that guy.
All right, Nick. Start warming up for your show.
Okay.
Give us some.
I'm not giving you the best ones. No, I'm just kidding. No, the one that just came in here, John from New York City. Do you think that Dak's interception problem last year was similar to when Zeke? Wow, what is that? Zeke had a 1-year fumble problem, both trying to do too much. Zeke not having Dak this year, Dak not having no receivers.
I think the only thing that I would worry about Dak's interceptions are the interceptions where he doesn't see the defender. That's the ones, because the other ones tend to be ones that are either tipped or maybe the receiver's fault. Maybe they don't run the right route. Maybe they don't finish the route. Maybe they don't go defend the ball. So, those are the ones I could live with those because I know that it's not all on Dak. That maybe but he gets charged for him. It's the ones where he doesn't see Leighton Vander Esch at practice on the goal line and throws the ball right to him, or he throws the ball right to I can't remember the Commander's linebacker that he did several years ago, and they were trying to protect a lead. He threw it right to
North Carolina. I know he went to North Carolina, but I don't remember.
Colburn or something like that. He just throws. I mean, when he throws the ball, it happened San Francisco. When he throws the ball and he doesn't see the defender, those are the interceptions you should really worry about.
All right.
And at practice, I mean, it has happened at practice. We've seen it, and people want to take those videos that the media uploads and just start killing Dak Prescott. Here we go again. Dak interceptions, another year, change quarterbacks, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like based on what we've seen so far, I do feel that his game has cleaned up a little bit just because, like we were talking about earlier, everyone seems to be more on the same page. Everyone seems to be a little bit more in sync and know exactly what's going on. And you're right. Sometimes he won't notice the defender and someone just pops up out of nowhere and it catches the ball, and it happens. But all in all, I don't think that pulls me away from the confidence that I have in Dak and wanting him to maybe throw less. No, keep throwing the way. I mean, obviously, keep improving, but keep throwing it. Yeah. And I think some of those long passes down the field, his passes have looked really, really good at times.
All right. Might want to knock on wood here, but if Pollard were to miss a game, how do you think the carries should be split? This is from Nick in Long Island.
We got a New York contingency listening to us today. I think what will happen is they will figure out. I think they're going to carry all four backs. Myself, I know. I
say all four. Malik.
Yeah, I think Malik will be part of the. I don't know. I mean, I say that I think he's going to be part, and then I've talked to people like a Todd Archer and guys like that. We kind of walk through the roster. He thinks that maybe they'll try and get Malik Davis through to the practice squad. I don't know where you guys think about.
Yeah.
But that situation,
a little disappointing this year for Malik. I thought he would take more of a leap.
Well, there's some questions. Whoever that third running back is going to have to be the special teams guy, because I don't think Deuce Vaughn is going to play a lot of special teams for you. I just don't.
No.
So me, whoever that guy is, and maybe this is what Nick was talking about earlier, Ambar, where you're going to have to go short somewhere, and we'll see with Malik Davis. But Rico Dowdle,
what are you doing with Ronald Jones?
I'm moved on.
Done?
To me, Ronald Jones and Adoga were guys that were bridge players to kind of in case something was not working out. Now, they don't play Adoga at guard. They play him at tackle, and he's looked terrible at.
I'd put him at guard.
Yeah,
I thought he's a guard.
Yeah,
all along. Got a guard body.
Maybe that's what they're going to do.
Here's the thing about Ronald Jones: you don't have to do anything with him.
Right.
There's 27 lists that you can put a player on here on cut down day next week, and one of them is the suspension list. So that's where he goes.
Yeah.
He goes there, and then
for what 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to do anything. Now, when you come back,
then you have to make a
decision. But who knows what it looks like? What What if there is an injury at the running back and you're like, okay, here's a guy that knows the system. He's been with us. You know, I would play him here in the preseason, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd play him this week.
Injury-wise, he's supposed to be ready.
Yeah.
He practiced for you this week, right?
What if he gets hurt for 2 weeks? I mean, he's going to be suspended anyways.
Right.
How did he do? How was he? I didn't really notice him. I think that much.
I was in Oxnard one of my last 2 days, and he was actually showed up. Where I was like, oh, okay, Ron. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what he looks physically. You know, he was running the ball on the outside, and I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't look bad. But I think that he's lost too much time. I think that Deuce Vaughn and Rico, and the thing about it is with, Malik Davis, we talked about this, last week. When Malik Davis was in the game on third down, they took him out and they put Rico Dowdle in as a pass protector. And then that kind of maybe, that worries you a little bit right there.
Yeah.
That they don't think he's the complete back.
It'll be interesting. I'm ready to see. I'm so freaking ready. I am so ready for week 1. There's so much I want. I just want to know if what I'm seeing is real or just practice. That's training camp. That's what happens at training camp. But I'm just so excited about so many of these guys, and I'm ready to see it all come together.
I'm just ready for Micah Parsons to be able to go all the way through the play and not stop at the quarterback when he's back there going, oh, okay, this was fun. Like, just wreak havoc like we're expecting him to.
Well, it will happen. We have 2 weeks? 2 weeks till the start of the season. Tomorrow, the game is at 7 p.m. Against the Raiders. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, and Amber Garcia. This has been The Break on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!